Me, a 30-year-old man, and my ex-wife have an 8-year-old son. I was still married to her when she became pregnant with her second child, and I believed the child was mine. However, I later found out that she had cheated and had claimed paternity from the other guy. I filed for divorce after leaving the marriage. I did a DNA test after my ex's son was born, and the results showed that I was not her younger son's father. During the divorce, we also took a DNA sample from my biological son. The divorce was finalized. Since I make more money than my ex, I make a little child support payment to make things equal. For the first few months of her son's life, the ex was with this other person, but he was gone. When he was no longer in the frame, she attempted to crawl back to me. She claimed our son was lucky to have me, and that her second son would be lucky to have a father. I advised her to choose a decent man and not be unfaithful to him. She appeared stunned, and I informed her that after what she had done, she was crazy if she believed that I would ever trust her again or wish to raise her son as my own. She informed me that if she and I worked together and raised the boys as our own, it would be better for the boys to be together all the time because of their 4-year age difference and the fact that they would never know half of the stuff. I told her that if she wanted to be a father figure to her son, she had to find someone else. I said this forcefully. My ex continued to try to push her son on me even after 4 years had passed, and she had not found another partner. She would have her younger kid ready and eager to go with me when I picked up our son from her residence, so I had to bring her back to court to set up a neutral location for us to swap him. She wouldn't stop, so I felt that getting together for exchanges in a certain place would be beneficial. However, it got problematic. It seemed to work for a little while, but then she brought her younger boy with her on Friday when I was picking up my son for my parenting time. He was waiting to accompany me carrying a rucksack. He stated he was coming too, walked over with my son, and extended out his arms as though he wanted to be touched or hugged. He exuded happiness. Since I wasn't going to bring him, I felt horrible. I advised him to go back to his mother. The poor child was so perplexed. I hurriedly fled with my son to avoid a conflict. My ex began messaging me late on Friday night, and throughout yesterday morning calling me a fool for not melting my heart enough to allow him to visit. She stated that she only wants the same for her son, adding, "I've proven to be a fantastic dad to our son." Then she informed me that I was a fool for not noticing that our son also wanted his sibling to live with me. My son never expressed a desire for it, or asked for it when I spoke with him yesterday. He did mention that his mother had instructed him to mention that he wanted his half-brother to live with me and that I should be his father. He was indifferent, though. Ex's remarks nonetheless affect me, perhaps because my son is more interested in his friends than his half-brother, and I'm aware that her son doesn't really have anybody else save my ex and himself. Am I the foolish one? Wow. That poor kid. Not the fool. That kid. That sad little thing. What she's secretly telling the small guy is beyond me. That child's expression is all I can think about. All he wants is love. I'm very sorry, Jesus. You don't have a monstrous voice. You look after your child, and now she's trying to crawl back, using your children as leverage. Is it possible to return her to family court? Inform them of her actions. Abuse occurs when a youngster is manipulated. Your former partner continues to deny responsibility for her infidelity and its aftermath. She's attempting to make you her second son's father by accusing him of being nasty to his sibling and saying he was going with you. She's also probably referring to you as his father. Record your handoffs on camera and print down any text messages that indicate she's pressuring you for this and attempting to reach you through her children. Accompany a friend on handoffs and make sure to document that as well. More proof is preferable. Yes, that boy will have lifelong trauma. Even though it's tragic, you are not to blame. She is alone responsible for this. From the beginning, you've set strict limitations. It's your ex who is entangling a helpless child in grown-up drama that he doesn't comprehend. Furthermore, she is encouraging your son to lie to you, drawing him into it. For the benefit of the two youngsters, if I were you, I would return to court and get this recorded. If this continues, she will harm both boys. My college buddy is getting married in a place I've always wanted to visit but was completely out of our price range. Her uncle runs a resort, and he has given her guests incredible accommodation discounts. We've planned this for months, sent out RSVPs, reserved a room, set up childcare, and more. Currently, my brother-in-law wants to tie the knot the weekend of my friend's wedding. It's simply a little ceremony and celebration in my in-laws' backyard. They're not doing anything. It will resemble a backyard cookout more than a formal wedding. In order for us to be in town, my spouse wants to call it all off. I refuse to cancel for the previously mentioned reasons. We've had a disagreement over it. I said his brother could just reschedule it for the next weekend or the weekend before. They don't have any reservations for vendors, out-of-town guests, wedding venues, or anything else that would prevent them from moving it so my spouse and I can attend. It's just obstinacy all the way. I detest the fact that my spouse isn't supporting me in this and has been disparaging me to his family. He believes I have rights. I would feel differently if his brother had a true wedding plan that lasted months and required a significant financial and time commitment. However, like I mentioned, changing the weekend didn't cost them anything. Am I the foolish one? Not the fool. What kind of entitlement are you displaying? Months before your brother-in-law made his wedding announcement, you accepted your friend's invitation and your husband agreed. You scheduled childcare and made financial plans, and now your brother-in-law wants you to break those plans because he chose to get married on a whim and wants you to cancel everything to make room for him? It's him who is acting really conceited. However, your spouse is the biggest fool in this scenario. He aggressively disparages you to his family and fails to provide them with the assistance they need. That seems like unacceptable behavior to me. You ought to leave your hubby at home and attend your friend's wedding. He'll take active measures to ensure that you don't have fun during what ought to be an amazing occasion, so he can savor his entitled brother's cookout. She thinks it's not a real wedding, period. According to her, it's not a real wedding. She uses quotes to describe her wedding. You're the idiot, OP, for always saying that the brother-in-law's wedding wasn't a legitimate wedding. It is a legitimate wedding after all. A destination wedding at an opulent resort does not equal a true wedding. For asking your brother-in-law to reschedule his wedding to accommodate your schedule, you are the foolish one. His nuptials differ from yours. Sincerely curious, OP. Would you still be so adamant about going to the brother-in-law's wedding if you had first accepted the invitation to his backyard ceremony and then received this amazing destination wedding offer from your friend, since you had consented to that beforehand? Never tell yourself lies. I supported you up until you claimed that your brother-in-law's wedding wasn't a legitimate nuptial. After that, you turned into a major elitist moron. See, she's not saying that his wedding isn't legitimate. She is referring to his ill-thought-out celebration that was arranged at the last minute, without taking into account the availability of ostensibly important guests who already had prior obligations in another nation, which the family now wants them to gladly cancel. Although your marriage is genuine and legitimate in the same way as everyone else's, it wasn't a wedding. Rather, it was only a marriage ceremony if it took place in your living room. This brother is not getting married. Moreover, it is a marriage ceremony. Although the OP noted that her brother-in-law had nothing firm booked, your assessment seems a little harsh given that the wedding would still take place. I have been successfully attempting to conceive a child with my partner. She's been pregnant for 2 months now. As we were hanging out, she informed me that she thought I would sell my motorbike soon because it was too risky for me to continue as a passion as a soon-to-be father. She's overreacting because I promised her I wouldn't do that, and that I've been riding for the previous 10 years and have been okay. She insisted that I complete this task because she wouldn't budge. I told her that she should have brought this up back when we chose to start trying for a child, because it wasn't her decision to make and I wasn't going to give up my interest just because I was going to become a father. Is it my fault for wanting to keep riding my motorbike even after my partner became pregnant? Not the idiot, since you're right. She ought to have stated that she considered this to be a deal breaker. But I'm not sure what she means when she says she won't budge. Is she threatening to end your relationship? She is not able to just make these requests. Think about assuring her that she will take all necessary precautions and be safe. Here. Everyone is the idiot. Yes. She should have known to clarify this throughout the time. You were both attempting to conceive. I can understand her, though, because I too would be scared of becoming a widow, or, let's say, a single parent if my boyfriend rode a motorbike. My acquaintances in the hospital tell me only how frequently they witness these accidents and how horrifying they are. You were not involved in my girlfriend's pregnancy, by the way, until she became pregnant. Following a motorbike accident when I was 2 or 3 years old, My dad parked his bike and never rode again, saying, "I can't do this anymore, I have a kid." Once more, I'm 45. The problem with motorcycle accidents is that they almost always result from risky behavior on the part of other people, rather than from a lack of experience or safety precautions taken by the motorbike rider. OP, you're so exposed when riding a motorbike. I'm hoping this reaches you. Though I don't believe you're a moron, I hope you give this some thought. After undergoing assisted reproduction, my 27-year-old husband and I welcomed our kid into the world a few months ago. When my sister, who is 31, announced that she was expecting, we were overjoyed to learn that we would be having our babies almost simultaneously. A little over 2 months after the birth of our son, our niece was born. My sister's and my circumstances are very similar. Our spouses drive 30 to 45 minutes each way for their regular 9-to-5 jobs. While my sister stays at home with her children, I work from home as a freelancer. We split the first 2 weeks after our son's birth between my husband's work leave and ours, working part-time nights. As soon as I started to feel somewhat comfortable with being a parent, I offered to assume full control on weeknights while he handled weekends and mornings before work. It's a team effort, and that parenting breakdown made perfect sense to me. My spouse was the one who had to get up at a certain hour in order to go for a drive. He was the one who left our house every day to go to work. We are past this barrier at 4 months. Though, to be honest, I kind of missed the peaceful, quiet time we had together during those extra night feedings. Even though we've gotten into a good sleep routine and typically only wake up once, we had it nearly down to a science before we outgrew the newborn stage. However, my sister is still going through that difficult time. She has struggled with this issue repeatedly since the beginning. She has been coming to me with concerns about falling asleep while holding the baby, her husband's refusal to assist her with night feedings and other things. Since I had experienced it myself, I tried to offer her advice. I advised her to let her boyfriend take over from 6 to 9 p.m. on the evenings so she could get a few extra hours of sleep while the baby naps, go to bed early, and so on. She shot down everything, stating that she wanted her partner to perform some night feedings, and that wouldn't work for them. I informed her that her spouse is the one who commutes in the mornings and that it was possible for him to nod off while driving. She could have survived it just as I had. So she could get some rest, I offered to watch her daughter for a few days. She found both of these quite offensive. She claimed that by acting like a better parent, I minimized her experience. She said since I hadn't been pregnant, I couldn't really relate to her or provide her helpful advice. My offer to look after my niece felt like a declaration that I was needed to assist her in parenting her daughter. Certainly nothing harmful was intended. But may I be the moron here? It's you who is the fool. I apologize for your husband's lack of value as a co-partner. That's okay if you're okay with it, but it's rude and inappropriate of you to inform another lady that she has a management dispute in her marriage. It's hardly unreasonable for your sister to desire the father of their child to contribute fairly to the child's upbringing. Before you end yourself without any friends at all, you need to get rid of your horrible, critical mindset. When it comes to matters that are private to you, other mothers will not put up with your disrespectful behavior. Her body is still postpartum, in addition to that. The guy used a lady as a renting womb to get a baby, but he has no idea what she put herself through ordeals in giving birth to the child. This guy is the biggest moron there is. Men's clothing has pockets for this reason, to keep all that audio acuity. To a woman, he is mansplaining parenting. Oh, you conceited moron. This is a completely different circumstance. Postpartum depression is awful. You need love and support from your partner, the person you're raising this baby with, this baby that she just built. Because your tits hurt, your bottom hurts, your back hurts, your stomach hurts, and your hormones are crazy. Scream at your brother-in-law to get off his butt if you want to be helpful. 22-year-old me resides with my parents while I look for work. Living under my parents' roof for the first time in 4 years has not been easy. My nutrition is one of the main points of contention between us. I therefore started a body transformation adventure at the beginning of April. Since then, as of this week, I've decreased from roughly 190 to 160. I'm 5'10". I've done this by doing a lot of cardio, weight training, and most importantly, calorie and macro tracking. I buy my groceries, cook my food, and am entirely self-sufficient when it comes to my diet. I ask nothing of my parents other than time to use the kitchen so I can meal prep. My parents aren't supportive of this. They think what I'm doing is unhealthy and dangerous, which it isn't, partially because they've struggled with weight loss and see my way of doing it as extreme. This causes contention. My dad always talks about how he never did what I do when he was a Marine and in the best shape of his life. My mom always says I'm too skinny and need to eat more, which is typical mom behavior. We argue a lot since they just can't mind their business about it. Tomorrow's my grandmother's 94th birthday, and as much as I want to go, I don't feel comfortable for 2 reasons. The first is that it's a 3-day trip out of state to see her, which means I likely won't be able to stick as strictly to my diet or workout routine as I need to. The second being is that I know I would feel pressured to eat my family's food. It's all like Southern comfort food, so some of the most delicious foods that'll make you incredibly fat. I know my aunts and uncles will make me feel bad and constantly try to convince me to eat, and I don't want to deal with that pressure, plus the temptation since I know the food will be good. So I said I wouldn't be going. I explained to my parents why, and they weren't happy. My dad said I was being ridiculous, that I couldn't take 3 days off from my diet to see family, and that in the long run, 3 days wouldn't hurt. I told him that 3 days would ruin a week's worth of progress that I needed to make. I don't like taking cheat days because they always make me feel worse about myself, and because currently I'm still too fat to have a reason to have a cheat day. My mom told me I was being selfish and that this could easily be my grandmother's last birthday. I told her that other people weren't attending in person and would FaceTime her to see her and speak, and I could do that. They said that wasn't acceptable and that since I could go, I needed to go. I said that if I did go, I was just not going to eat for 3 days straight, and I didn't want to do that. So I wouldn't be going. I also mentioned that they don't know how to commit to weight loss, so they should stop lecturing me on what I need to do for my body. We reached an impasse until they left this morning, and I didn't. I talked to my brother about it, and he told me I was being a huge idiot, and I needed to go see them and apologize to my parents. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. As they said, it could be your grandma's last birthday. This could be your last opportunity to see her in person, to feel her presence. Don't miss that. Also, no one's going to be forcing food down your throat. Choose small portion sizes, and even good Southern comfort food includes veggies. Lastly, your parents are right to be worried because skipping events due to being afraid of the food that'll be offered is a sign of disordered eating. Being around food and being able to make good choices is one thing. Isolating yourself to avoid food is another. Agreed. And the fact that at 160 he still thinks he's too fat to have a cheat day is concerning. Not wanting to break a lifestyle change because you like it, and how your body functions is one thing, but overcompensating is another. It sounds like OP could use some therapy to help him cope with the feelings he has around food and his parents. Dude, if you can't stop for 3 days for a significant event because the food will make you fat, then your program is too extreme. In 40 years, you won't regret missing 3 days of your diet, but you will regret not being there for your grandmother's birthday. Perhaps her last. Consistency is vital, not perfection. And please don't turn dietary and gym stuff into your personality. You'll end up lonely if you don't balance the people in your life. Don't take those around you for granted, no matter how important your diet is. Get your priorities straight.